On today's podcast, we sat down with Adam Schwarz. He's a top producing real estate agent here in the Inland Empire in Riverside. And he's actually the cover story for the July issue of Inland Empire Real Producers as well.
He's actually our first person to be on back-to-back covers ever in Southern California or North Carolina, because he's in the Zoom call on the cover of our quarantine issue, which is the June issue, and he is the cover for our July issue.
Yeah, it's just a great time sitting down with him. You know, when we moved back, he immediately filled up our news feed. He puts out a ton of content. He's created a really unique brand and vibe in what he does, and he's very genuine. I think a lot of people like working with him because he is who he is. Talked about him being an umpire in Major League Baseball as well. Just a really cool story.
Yeah, make sure you stay tuned till the very end, because he talks about how being an umpire prepared him for real estate. And it's just such a fascinating analogy that he talks about between, you know, everything you need to be an umpire and how beautifully it translates to being a real estate agent.
Yeah, it was really actually kind of eye-opening for me, because from having a background in sports and seeing a lot of people coming out of athletics into sales do well, but being an umpire is a whole nother level. So
because nobody's on your team when you're an umpire.
Team. So today we sat down with Adam Schwarz.
This is the Create Podcast.
Yeah. But thanks for coming out, man. Appreciate it,
dude. Of course.
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago we were recording your podcast, and this is the first time we've done it with someone where we go back and back. So
I know, I feel so bad. We've been so backed up. Like 4 people have been like, dude, and then like I took all last week off from posting. I wasn't on any social all week last week. So
yeah.
Like, there's so many podcasts that we need to drop. And I'm like, I'm almost going to get to the point where I was going to drop Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I might drop like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and just like catch back up, because we have so many of them that it's just like, we got to just get them out.
Once you get caught up, what's your normal schedule going to be?
I think just once a week, you know what I mean? Or just kind of like whenever it happens, to be honest. Like my real big thing is like, I feel like the podcast is just like extra. And like for me, like I will always want to try to put like one whiteboard educational video out every week. Like my job is still to educate people in real estate. One food vlog at some type whenever that opens up, and then one vlog. Like if I can do those 3 things, then everything else is just kind of filler.
Yeah. You
know, I used to go like post so much, and now I'm like so busy that like I just can't post. I just don't even think about it really that much anymore. Then I'm like, oh, I haven't even posted all day today. Like my Pelotons get posted more than anything else. Like, you know what I mean? That and my dogs. But
I was gonna say I love the Peloton and the dogs.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like I think people need to realize when I'm not posting, that's when I'm really busy. Like I've never been this busy before. Like I've gone like a whole week and I was like, thank God I didn't have to post. Because it's so much, and so like you're just running from moment to moment, and then like we're so backed up on podcasts right now, so like the team's like at the office working on podcasts all the time, and like I'm not a big vlogger on showing people me showing houses. Like if you ever watch my stuff, like truly watch it, I'll never post when I'm showing houses, just because it's like everyone posts that,
right?
So it's like I just blend in with everyone else. Like everyone knows I show houses, I do deals. And maybe every once in a while, like last month, I made that post where I'm like, dude, I showed a house every single day this month.
Yeah,
and didn't even close one deal.
Yeah, well,
next month will be extra. Mm-hmm. That's always how it goes.
Yeah, that's how it works.
We finally have gotten to the place where we're on a schedule and consistent. So we're trying to do Monday vlog and then Wednesday podcast release and do 1 a week. But it's hard. I mean, you're in the same boat, because that's not my full-time job, isn't doing a vlog and a podcast. Make money. Right.
That's what people don't get. Like I look around, I'm like, this is a negative.
Right.
This makes no money. All this does is eat up financials and time. And I mean, but the thing is, like, I'm leveraging it for business, so it does work for me for business. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just like, it's like the anxiety of like, I can't stop. You know what I mean? I would love for it to be, in the perfect world, I would have 2 more people I'd have on my staff. 1 person that posts my stuff for me, and 2, someone to like a graphic designer to make more stuff for me to post. But
yeah,
hopefully one day I'll have that many people in here.
That's what we really need as a graphic designer. I feel like that's one of the hardest things to find.
And they're so hard to find, and they're so expensive, and they're so not that great. And anyone that's ever used paint or think they're a graphic designer and they're terrible, and it's just like,
well, and even if they're talented, they have to line up with what they have to be able to understand what your vision is and consistently execute it, and that's so hard. It's kind of like finding a spouse.
It is. I mean,
a little bit.
Really, that's when you think about it. I think like building your team, and I think I've been very fortunate to build a great team around me, but I've gone through a lot of team members. It's like being in a relationship. It's like when you're in a bad mood, how do you react when that person's in a bad mood? How do you guys deal with each other when you're not seeing eye to eye, when business is not working out, things like that. So it's like, for me, like, I've always tried to appreciate, like, me and my team. I try to just thank them every day. Like, I hate real estate agents so much. I think, like, dude, if it was, like, especially if you're doing deals, you have to have a good team. Your lender, your assistant, your broker, maybe your team leader, like your photographer. All these people are built up to why you're able to do deals. So I don't know why they don't thank them. Like, we're in a transaction right now, and the buyer's agent was, like, rude to Brittany. And I had to write an email and being like, I never write emails ever. And I wrote an email, I'm like, you're not allowed to talk to my assistant that way. I'm sorry. Like, if you have a problem, you can call me directly, but you do not speak to her that way.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's like, and it was like, she was on it, her assistant was on it.
Yeah.
Both lenders were on it, escrow was on it. It's like, no, like, you don't talk to my team that way. You know?
Well, I think that successful teams have to kind of like function like a family in that way, where you do have their back, you know? Like,
for sure.
Yeah, we very much feel the same way. You've had a couple times like that where we've had our assistant Lainey for, oh my gosh, like 4 years or something, a really long time.
I love how 4 years is a long time. Like, oh my God, it's
yeah,
long, right?
Yeah, well, in our life, like,
in our world, it is.
Yeah,
a long time.
it's a super long time. But yeah, you've had a couple times where you had to like take somebody to task and be like, you cannot treat Lainey that way. And
I
think
surprising that I feel bad for their assistants. It's because it's like, if they're going to treat my assistant that way, what do they treat their assistant? Like, if that's what they write in an email that has 10 people on it.
Right.
What are they doing when no one's on it?
Right. It's like, if you're willing to come to my house and spank my kids,
exactly.
like, imagine what you're doing to your own kids.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like,
But yeah, I think that's such a great
quality
to have.
Are you guys seeing a lot of more agents? You know, like, a lot more people pay attention to you guys probably than me in the agent world. Are you seeing like more agents trying to like piggyback off of what you guys are doing?
It's starting to happen now. Yeah.
It's funny. It's I don't think it's happening quite as much here.
Not
I think
a ton,
it's just
but
it's
just starting. We can feel the beginnings of it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Some North Carolina.
Is it hard to be?
People.
It's hard for me. Do you guys go on podcasts now and you become the interviewer because you're so used to interviewing people? Like, it's so hard for me to be interviewed because I'm like, okay, stop asking questions, Adam.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I think that's what makes. I mean, we very much don't want them to be interviews. We want them to just be a conversation. So when you have somebody who, like, that's what makes for a good conversation is when you have two people.
I just did the one that made me the most nervous. I did one with a buddy of mine who, I mean, we're not really good friends. We know each other. We did one podcast together. We did another one last week. I'll be dropping today about Black Lives Matter. And he's like, he's in like that field in Riverside. And I was like super nervous for that one. Even Adrian edited it yesterday. He's like, you could totally tell you were like on tilt the whole time. I was like, it was the first time I've ever done a podcast where like I was not worried what I was gonna say, but like I had to think so much on how I answered questions and how I asked questions,
right?
How I led the conversation. It was like the worst podcast ever, not for what it was, but like for me being like not flowing,
right?
And having to be like and going into it thinking like, okay, what are the questions I'm gonna ask? How am I going to ask them? How is this going to come across? How do I come across in the right way? How do we put the right light on a conversation that needs to be talked about? And it was like one of those feelings where it was kind of like, for me, like I was debating on even doing it, but then I was kind of like, you know what? Like, why, this is obviously something that's going on in our world. Why not talk about it? And if we do it the right way, it shouldn't be a problem. And then I was thinking, and I was like, well, if I lose clients over it, then it's like, do I really want to work with those people anyways? If they're that offended by what we're talking about. So it was definitely like nerve-wracking, you know, and luckily for me, only maybe like 100 people will watch. So it's not like it's that big of a deal, but it was definitely like, we were talking about like getting ready for podcasts. Like I was for sure, like that was a nerve-wracking one.
But I think that's where so much growth happens,
for sure.
Like on a personal level and a professional level when you're like really, really stressed.
Yeah, where you're like, oh my God, here we go, you know, so, but, you know, I think that's the thing too, you know, I'm just trying to figure out what we can put out there that no one else puts out there, because if I have to see one more stupid post about people showing houses, or like right now with the market being on fire, like, oh my God, the market's on fire, you should totally be selling right now, it's like, dude, stuff.
Yeah, everybody knows.
Everyone knows. And what's so sad that people don't realize is that, like, when a house gets 20 offers, the listing agent literally had nothing to do with it. Literally nothing to do with it. If you're working with a top producer, they're taking good photos immediately, which they don't take. A professional does. They can run comps easily. They're on a level where their client probably trusts them enough to price their house where it needs to be priced at. So really the market determines if you have 20 offers or not have 20 offers. It has nothing to do with the listing agent. And then the listing agent's job is to manage the client's emotions and make sure and organize, think about 20 people showing a house, organizing 40 people showing a house in a weekend, and what offers to not even show your clients. You don't show them all of the offers, telling people not to even submit offers if they're not going to be at a certain level. So, but to see what upsets me is like all you post is, oh, we have 20 offers. Why don't you post everything that goes on behind that? And I think that's more educational for people. And I think that's more valuable to the consumer on what we actually do, not just, oh, I have 20 offers and I sold a house.
Yeah. And it's more interesting. It's more relatable.
For sure.
For you, so when we moved back last year, started meeting with a handful of agents, and then it's funny how social media works. Like, literally meet with one agent, send them a Facebook friend request, and then another one, and then people start, it grows so fast, right? So, like, all of a sudden, like, recently there was a period where I noticed on my Facebook where a tilt happened, where most of my news feed went from North Carolina to real estate related world to Inland Empire. Like it tilted, and I saw as it was like the needle was moving. But when we first got back and that started happening, and all of a sudden my news feed's filled with Inland Empire real estate agents, and you were the first one that popped up. Like, you were obviously running Facebook ads, so there was sponsored stuff, but but organic stuff as well. Like, nobody showed up in my news feed like as much as you did, the way you did. And I remember telling myself, I'm like, this guy's like, he's putting out great content, he's doing it consistently. We have to meet with this guy. So, but how did that first start? Like, if you go all the way back yeah.
So what upsets me and my team talk about all the time, like the mistakes I made. I was vlogging myself going into my second year in real estate, and I think I put like 14 vlogs out, and I was just so busy, and it's so hard. Like, this is why, like, I appreciate my team so much, because I know how hard it is to put a vlog together. I know how hard it is to make graphics look. I know how, it's like these guys, right? It's like, I know how hard it is, as he's playing Call of Duty over here probably. And it's so hard. And so the problem that I say 99.9% of people in this industry make is that it's not right now money. So it always gets pushed back to the end. You know how many people hit me up, oh, Adam, I need to come to the office and shoot videos, or oh, Adam, I'd love to do a podcast, or oh, Adam, and then it's like, what annoys me, and some of this is my advice I gave to these young kids I just did a podcast on this weekend, was like, I've never missed a meeting. If I set an appointment with someone who I want to meet with, nothing will ever get in that way of that appointment. And too many people push social media and video and content off to the end because it's not right now money. They look at it as like, well, I have to go meet with this client. And how many times I've turned out where I'm like, hey, whatever happened to that client you blew me off to go meet with? Oh, they ended up ghosting me. I never did deal with them. And so for me, it was one of those things where I just felt like, when I went into real estate, I fell in love with Gary and content and consuming content. And I just don't like doing real estate like everyone else does. I don't like cold calling. I've done it a few times. It's freaking awful. I feel awful when I do it. I feel terrible. I get annoyed. And I don't want to go bang on people's doors. So for me, it's like how... And then what people also don't get is now I'm the guy. I don't care. Name one other agent in Riverside that... I'm not even going to say Riverside. There's only one other agent that I know in the Inland Empire that competes with me on social media, is James Shelby, out of my own office. Other than that, no one can really... We're completely different than everyone else.
Yeah,
and
you're doing your own thing. And
I'm just going to do me. And that's what I want people to realize. It's so funny when I talk to coaches or whatever, and they're like, okay, you got to do this. You got to build a team. You got to do... It's like, dude, I'm good. I'm straight. I just want to do my videos, shoot my podcast, have my media team, have my office that everyone think is stupid, and I just want to have fun and do me. And they just like, what are you talking about? You don't want to make more money? No, I'm fine. I'm really good. And so for me, it was just one of those things where it works for me. And not everyone can do what I do. And not everyone can hop on a podcast and interview a stranger they've never met before and freestyle off them. Not everyone can have a camera in their face 24/7. And so for me, it's just one of those things where it works. And I've done a lot of deals, so why am I going to stop? And that's the thing that people don't realize. Right when you start seeing it work, then you go, oh, man. It's like, do you think your client really wants, a past client of yours really wants to get a call every quarter from you asking, hey, just want to check? They all know why you're making that call. They all know why you're making that call. You're only calling them for business. For me, just follow me on social media. You see me and what I'm doing. If you want to be involved, great. If you have something, I'll help you out, whatever. And if you go buy some with someone else later on, okay, mazel tov, great. See you later.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that people don't, I just don't care. And so I think that's the reason why I'm able to do video and do the podcast and do all stuff, because I really don't care. And when I have agents argue with me on my points, like I made a video one time stating, well, I'll never buy a house, which I will probably buy a house one day. But why I don't buy a house, oh my God, you know how many agents that I was like, I can't believe you're putting this out, I can't believe this, I can't believe that. And I literally was like, I wrote back and I wrote one girl and I wrote, you have been in the industry for 4 years, you've done less than 20 deals in 4 years. Who are you to tell someone should they buy or sell homes when you don't even have enough experience to evaluate someone? And I said, this is why I don't buy a house. Not why other people don't buy it, why I don't buy a house. And they're so shocked that I will say that buying a house isn't the greatest thing ever because it doesn't make them money. And that's why everyone's here. So for me, it's how do I bring value to the table? How do I actually come off a way that people like me? And it works. And the problem, I think a lot of agents, they're not likable. Or they don't know what to say in front of the camera. Or they're too nervous so they're going to say something stupid. I say stupid stuff all the time.
Well, I think, too, a lot of times people are trying to be so professional that they lose, like, their flavor.
You know how many agents
and,
ask
like,
me
what's
how do I
the
show
point?
houses in shirts and T-shirts and flip-flops and a hat? You know how many agents that are my age that go, you don't wear suits? No.
No.
Why
Yeah.
not? Well, at Coldwell Banker, they tell us that we have to wear suits and this and that. How many deals did you do last year? 6. Cool. It's obviously not working for you. Okay?
Just be you.
Just be you.
Just
People
be you.
just want you to be you. And you know what? And I've had clients call me out and say, because one time maybe I have shown up in a suit because maybe I had a really important meeting before and that meeting needed me to be in a suit. And then it's like, okay, and they're like, oh, dressed up for us today. And I'm like, yeah, man, I really didn't want to. I had something else. And because I wore a suit when I first got in the industry because I thought that's what I needed to do because I didn't have the confidence to be it. The problem with most agents, they never do enough deals to build up the confidence to be them.
Right.
That's the thing. Like, and everything I don't understand with agents and I don't understand with this industry is all these people work with people. They work with the Coldwell Bankers, they work with the Keller 20 or Century 21s, the Keller Williams. They work for all these companies, but the companies aren't doing anything for actually them to do business because the average fail rate is 95%. So they all work for these companies and these companies tell them how to do deals, but then none of them do deals, but then they all stay there or they fail. That's what I don't understand. But then they keep following the same thing that everyone tells them to do, and then you look and you're like, dude, you're not doing any business. It doesn't work. You need to change the game up. Hop on video, hop on photos, hop on whatever it is, because you're calling in your door knocking or your whatever, or you're calling your friends is not working. That's what I don't understand.
Well, I think you talked about, you could grow your business, you could do this, you could go in this direction, but I think there's a lot of wisdom in that where I think everyone has a sweet spot, right? So when you look at your business and your growth and your income, and I think everyone has a sweet spot, and it's going to be different for everybody.
I just want to be happy.
Yeah, and that sweet spot is where I'm making enough money,
yeah,
and I'm happy. I'm not overworked. Yeah.
Listen, there's a house that Rob Murray just listed is $1.2 million on the golf course on Victoria. I would love to go buy that thing. If I bought that house, I probably would feel like $1 million every day I woke up on it. But it would probably be the worst decision I would ever make because it would take all my money away and I wouldn't have money to invest. And it's such a short-sighted goal that I have learned that if I want to do what I want to do, I have to make sacrifices. And then that's one of the sacrifices. I could go buy $1 million house. I do enough deals. I have enough money. But it's like, is that really worth to not have him or another person or, you know what I mean? Or when Corona hit, I had to fire everyone because I had to pay my bills and not pay my staff.
Right.
And so that's the thing is when people go, I can't believe you have a full-time assistant. I can't believe you have full-time media guys. I have these people because I'd rather give them money than me work 20 hours a day. I'm good. Like I want to have a life. And even Brittany says, you work 24/7. I do. Can you imagine if I didn't have you or the team? God, I would literally never sleep. And so for me, it's that, but I love it. I love working. I don't dread not working. I love working. It's fun.
Well, and I think that the beauty of having people work with you and having a team is that you're able to do what you're great at and what you enjoy doing.
Exactly.
And so if you're doing that, it's okay to work 24/7.
Exactly.
If you were, editing podcasts, which
I would hate.
maybe you don't enjoy,
Yeah.
that
Well, and I'd be
would be
terrible
less
at it.
enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My team, I'm just good at getting people to like me. That's it. That and solving problems. Those two things are really, and then I just don't care about anything, so nothing bothers. I mean, I'm like a firework. Like, I get pissed, and the team sees me, I get pissed, and then it's over. Like, I get mad for a second.
That's kind of how I am.
Like,
I'm like really, really mad.
and
then I'm like,
I don't
whatever.
know if I get mad. I think I just get so annoyed with other people, clients and agents and scenarios where I'm just like, oh my God, you guys are being stupid. That is just really annoyed, and then I just get over it, and then I go back to normal life.
You're like a gas leak fire that's still leaking. You can be mad for
you
a
last a
long-
week?
Oh, yeah.
Like
Oh, see, no, I
Mark
don't care
gets
now.
mad and he's mad. Where I'm like that. Where I'm like a firework. Where I'm like really, really, really mad, and then I'm like whatever.
And I used to
And I'm
be
over it.
worse. I used to be way worse. When I first got in the industry, I'd get pissed at all the time. I'd be yelling at people on the phone. I'd be going crazy, and then I finally realized I'm not gonna be able to last
Right.
doing that forever. And even I even have to tell Brittany, we're arguing about getting a form on a deal, and she's like, "Well, we don't get it. Then we gotta pay." I'm like, "Look, I'm like, you spent an hour arguing with escrow on something, which you know what? We tried 3 times, we didn't get it. Move on. Now we have a client. We have a client right now. It's a mobile home. We're making maybe $500 after it's all said and done. Her son just tried to commit suicide, and it's this big shit house." And I'm like, now you're tired from arguing with someone that wasn't important. Now we don't have the energy to handle a client. And that's the thing that people, I think, make the biggest mistake in this industry or most industries, they waste so much time on stuff that doesn't even matter. And then the things that we need to crush, we're so tired from the stuff we were arguing about before that we don't have time to have the energy to handle that correctly. And then we mess that up, and then that just leads to no business.
I think that's been our biggest life lesson. More on a personal side than a business side. But over the last 5 years, wouldn't you say that that's our biggest life lesson, to just let the stuff
You just gotta let stuff go.
that doesn't matter just go?
For sure. I mean, for me personally, I'm the opposite naturally. So it's a lot of work for me, but I feel especially the last year, that's probably the one thing in my own personal development that I've worked on is just getting over something, working through it. Okay, what do I need to work through on this? What can I learn from it? Now let's just get past it.
I just love bitching. I love it. Sometimes it's comedic to me, where I just start laughing because I'm just complaining about so much dumb stuff, and I'm like, this is so stupid. But then I'm I'm not upset. I just think it's dumb and it's real life, and so I complain about it.
And if you're able to vent and get it out and move on,
whatever.
and then be done with it.
Yeah.
That's why I always laugh when people are in relationships. I always say it's you have 2 choices: get over it, because the person's probably not going to change. Get over it or leave. One or the other. That's what I tell Brittany all the time. We have a choice.
That's it.
Get over something, or we fire that client.
Yeah.
If it's not worth firing them, then we just get over
Just
it.
get over it.
You mean you
Just
can't
move
change
on.
people?
No.
Oh, dang it.
And so that's the thing too, is I've just come to terms, this is how it's going to be. We deal with it. We get our paycheck and we move on. You know what I mean? And I'm not the greatest person when it comes to nurturing clients. That's not my game. My game is you ready to go? Let's do it. I've had people call me hey, we're ready to think about selling the house. Okay, cool. I can be over tomorrow. Oh, we're we're talking 6 weeks. Okay, call me in 5.5 weeks.
Right.
And you will not, and I tell them, you will not hear from me for 5.5 weeks.
Right. I don't need to babysit
I don't need to
through
you
this
tell
decision.
me when you're ready to go. It's
Right.
go time. That's
Right.
it. And that's my how I work. And have I lost deals because of that? Of course, but I've created my business around being those people. All right, you ready to go? When you're ready to go, I jump on it.
Yeah, let's go.
Call me. I'll be there in an hour. If I have an hour, if I can meet you in an hour, I'll meet you in an hour. And that's the thing where nurturing people. I don't do that. I don't have time for that. But
And I think that works
for me.
Yeah, if it works for you, that's great.
The thing that people need to realize too. It all works for everyone.
Right.
There's no perfect way to do this. So just figure out who you work and work with them.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If you're being you, you're going to attract the people who that works for them,
sure.
and you're going to have business.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
you don't know who you are, you're going to attract like a whole mishmash
Random
of people, and they're going to drive you freaking crazy.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, and people are looking for something genuine and authentic in a person. I know me personally, and most people I'm sure would rather either work with someone or be in a relationship with someone who maybe isn't exactly their flavor and what they want, but that person is that all the time, than someone who's pretending to be their flavor.
Dude, that's the thing. I'm just being me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we try to be like, obviously, like with the podcast and the vlogs and stuff, we try to like cut cussing out or drinking and what. It's like, dude, I cuss and drink. Like, that's what I do. But I'll treat you like $1 million.
Right.
Right? Like, if that offends you that I cuss and then we turn up every once in a while, like, but you know what? When you need something, we'll run through a brick wall for you. Yeah. But, and you know, it is. I've had clients like I remember when I first started, like, I'd always bring champagne, and I one time brought champagne, like, oh, we don't drink. I'm like, crap, this is weird. What do I do? So then I brought him a cake. I didn't know what to do. I was like, I don't know what to do. I brought him a cake. No lie. So they wanted to buy a house. They bought this house, and they wanted put a pool in the backyard. The wife really wanted a pool. The husband was like, no, I don't care. So I bought a cake, took a photo of the house off the MLS, put it on the cake, right? And then I had the cake person put a fake pool in the backyard, and I brought it to them, and I was like, here you go, you got to put a pool in the backyard now. And the husband was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. He's like, you jerk.
So that's something, you know, and we met those people at open house, really nice people.
Yeah.
I love that.
So when you first started with the vlog, it was just you. What was that like? Did you literally just go get a camera?
Yeah. I bought the wrong camera, spent way too much money. I wanted to be like Casey Neistat. Bought like the huge like Canon 70D. I dropped it, broke the screen. And but it was like it was a good experience. What's so great that I want everyone to realize when it comes to vlogging or what we do, dude, you can go back and watch this stuff, and it's so cool to go back and watch, even if it's like a clip of something from 4 or 5 years ago. Like, I go back and look at what I used to do and work and real estate and this and that, and I'm like, dude, I did it that way? That's stupid. Why would I do it that way? But that's how it all started, and I just would edit it on my Mac, and I would be up all night editing, and I'd go to sleep and wake up and do it all the next day. And that's the thing, is that how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to chase your dream to get what you want? That's it. And if you don't want to sacrifice everything to get there, then you don't want it. It's like, I don't barely ever go on vacation. I'm actually going on vacation for 2 days. Yes, 2 days in 2 weeks. I haven't left town this whole year. But it's like, I don't have, you know, going to the river or going to Vegas or, well, I mean, with the window. But like, going and do those things is not worth, for me, not meeting a client. The client's more important than me going on vacation for 2 days. Because that could lead to more business, which leads to more money, which leads closer to my goals. You know?
Yeah. How far into real estate were you when you started vlogging?
Vlogging?
Yeah.
I was like a year in, right? So it's like I had my first year. I did 24 deals my first year, so I was like doing well. And so it was just kind of one of those things where it's like I was posting every single day still, but like on my iPhone. And then I was like, hey, what's the next thing we can do that will like take it to the next level? And then now we're just a whole machine now. I mean, like, I don't care who you are. I don't know anyone that competes with us when it comes to everything we do, you know? But that was like a process of me being like, okay, I now make enough money to pay someone to do it, because there's no way I could do, like, I tried to do a podcast on Sunday, and I didn't know how to set up the M6, and then we started, it wasn't recording the third mic, and had to call one of the guys. I'm like, hey, how do we, like, oh, there, you gotta do boost, you gotta send power to it, you gotta push this button. I would have had no idea. So it's like so far over my head now that like, but it's so it goes, what do I want to do? Podcasts and vlogs and food vlogs, which really doesn't make me any money, but it's at least 50 grand a year for me to buy that stuff. So what's more important, 50 grand more in my bank account, or that stuff? That stuff's more important, because it works, and it's working, and it's going to continue to work. And I think that I'm at a point now where it's like, I just want everyone to know who I am. That's it. If 1 million people can know who I am, I would sell enough houses a year to make it. But the problem is not enough people put up themselves enough to have that many people know them. It's like when people want to live on their sphere. Dude, you got 300 people in your sphere that really know you or know who you are. Cool. So every year, maybe 1% of those are buying and selling real estate, or say the average 5 deals a year. That's why you're only doing 5 deals a year. But for me, it's like 5,000 people on Instagram. It's YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook ads, open house signs, for sale signs. Like, it's like, how many people know who I am? Driving my stupid van around, right? Meeting with people, right? I'm always trying to meet with people. How can I go to a party? I will show up to the party late and I will leave early every single time, but I always show up. Hey, meet everyone. Hey, this is my buddy Adam. He sells real estate. And I just go, and then I leave. That's my job. I'm running for mayor. That's all we do. I'm trying to run for mayor. And luckily, I know how much a mayor makes, so Rusty Bailey, don't worry, I'm not coming after your job. But, like, that's all I'm trying to do. That's what real estate is. It's just, for the most part, a popularity contest, knowing as many people that know who you are and prove to them that you know what you're talking about.
Well,
it's
just
very
branding.
similar to politics.
It's the same thing in politics.
You're
The
right.
only difference is we actually get stuff done.
Yeah. Well, just branding and being consistent. I mean, especially in today's climate and environment and where we're headed with branding is everything. And it's like I was saying before, when we moved here, like you were instantly in our news feed.
Yeah.
And then I'm driving downtown Riverside and I see your
There
van.
goes Adam.
I'm like, that's that guy, you know. Every time I'd go downtown Riverside, I would see it over there. So it's just, you know, staying top of mind and having that consistent branding is everything. Did you see, so going back, you know, starting vlogging by camera, doing it yourself, did you see kind of a progression of you getting more comfortable? And
I've always been really comfortable on camera. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I've always been kind of like, I feel like the difference between you're holding the camera and someone's holding the camera is when you're holding the camera, you feel like you have to be not on, but you feel like you have to be like vlog style, like, hey everyone, what's going on?
Hi
Today's
guys,
vlog,
welcome
we're
to
doing
my
this.
channel.
Yes, we're doing this today, and then I'm doing here, and then it's like, but when someone's holding the camera, you're just kind of not focusing on being on camera. So that's kind of the one thing I do like, where it's like, I'm not, anytime anyone's ever watched me on a rant video or me saying something and someone goes, oh, that was totally staged, it's never staged. Half the time I don't even know the camera's on or not on, you know? So I would say that's the biggest difference when you're holding one. When you're holding it, or when you see someone taking one, you feel like you have to be someone else. But when someone's holding a camera, you're just you. That's the difference that I think.
I can see that for sure.
Because you feel like, it's like whenever the camera's on a tripod. Like when someone gets in front of the whiteboard, and then we do a whiteboard video and they're trying to talk about real estate, if you took that tripod away and we were just talking real estate, you would be able to answer those questions, right? But with the moment you put a camera in front of you, you feel like you have to be something else. And that's something that I've learned, that, no, just be who you are. And I think that's the separation that people can't do, is that the moment the camera gets on you, it's like this, when this mic gets in front of you, some people, I don't know if you've experienced it yet, they kind of are sometimes different. And you're like, dude, we're just talking. Like, I know this mic's in front of you right now, but we're just having a conversation.
Just be normal.
Just act normal, right? And I think that was the biggest difference between that. Yeah. And the hard part, too, is like when you're focusing on the video, are you focusing on your job? Are you prospecting? Are you following up with leads? No, you're kind of just, oh, let me set the camera up. Okay, let me take this shot. Hey, let me go here. So almost then that becomes like more of a job. So for me, like how I look at things is like having brand is $25,000 a year, roughly, right? So $25,000 is $1 million. $1 million in transactions, right? So having Brant hold a camera, will that make me at least $1 million in sales a year, which is $25,000 in commissions? So if I think if I think his videos will make me 2.5 more deals a year, then he's worth it, right? And if he's not, then I take him away. And so for me, I realized like not having to waste time setting tripods up, setting videos up, making sure it's not good, having to shoot videos because not taking the time to edit, that is taking away from at least 2.5 deals a year, at least. Mm-hmm. So it's like, that's a hire I need to make. And then we hired another one because it was like, okay, now I have to think, to have these guys on staff, my videos have to at least make me do, 6 deals, say 7 deals on the low end on transactions, 7 deals a year. Do they make me 7 deals a year? I would say they probably do, So that's how I look at things when it comes to hiring people and when it comes to social media. Not, I'm going to run a Facebook ad and get 5 leads and close a deal. Do them taking that much time out of my hands allows me to go meet with more people, go to parties, be on camera more, do more podcasts. Like the podcast is the greatest way to ever meet someone and not have to wrap them into sales. Hey, I see you do this. I would love to do a podcast with you. Great. That is such an opening line to people that people are like, I would love to do one. Okay, cool. And then that just starts the conversation.
Yeah, you build the relationship from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is that what people need to realize is when you're just shoving all your money to Zillow or, perfect example, you can't door knock and cold call right now, really. Cold calling is going to go away. So, what are you going to be based on? It's going to be brand. And that's the thing that what's going to happen is I think we're at a tipping point right now. Especially in Riverside, I don't know everywhere else, but Riverside, I feel like we're at a tipping point. There's really no young agents. I mean, really think about it. How many agents have you guys interviewed under the age of 35?
Not very many.
Not that many. So sooner or later, there's going to be the turnover.
Right.
I don't know when that is. It could be another 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. But sooner or later, there's going to be a turnover on those agents. And so my advice to anyone who's listening to this who's maybe just new in the industry is like, if you're young right now, you're building up to bank it off in 20 years. Not now. Like, I'm great that I'm doing deals now. It's awesome. But like in 20 years, who's gonna have more brand equity than me at this point? If I don't stop, nobody.
Yeah.
So in 20 years, I will be the guy. And then that's when you kind of cash in, where you don't have to work as hard, when you have so many past clients, where it's just like referral business, where everywhere you go,
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say, because I feel like we started, 4 years ago in the North Carolina market with real estate. And I think if I had to guess, the average age of the top real estate agents in there, they're a little bit further ahead than here.
Yeah.
So a little bit older. Yeah. So it's almost like California is there. Whatever that tipping point that happens in real estate with agents, they're a little bit behind what we saw there. And over the course of those 4 years, we saw it happening for sure. And because it
was like a passing of the torch. It was fascinating.
Yeah, because basically the top 500 agents in the market, based on their total volume, that's who we work with. That's who gets the magazine. We update it every year, so that changes. Our subscriber list changes every year. Those in the top 25, top 50. And just even last year, I saw a big difference where there was this group of agents that were in their 20s even, and then in their 30s, creeping into the top 100, top 75, 50, 25. And the ones that were doing it are the ones that were consistently showing up on my newsfeed. They were doing video. They were.
It's not
brand was
complicated,
consistent.
and I think that's the thing that people. It's like anything else. I'm trying to lose weight right now, right? I'm trying to lose 8 pounds. People will laugh at me, but I'm trying to lose 8 pounds. But like,
from where?
Exactly. I'm t-shirt skinny. Trust me. So like, but it's like, what is it? It's not. I'm not gonna lose it in 2 weeks. It's like negative 200 calories a day or 500 calories a day, riding the bike every day, eating healthy. And so what I think is interesting about this industry is that like it's like you don't ever go to any company and become the CFO or CEO, right? I'm very fortunate that I blew up when I very got lucky that I did a lot of deals in my first year, and then it's gone more and more each year, and now I'm at a point now where I have numbers, and I don't think people understand that as an agent is that when you have numbers then backing you have a leg up on everyone, because you just sit down and go, well, I did 45 deals last year. So if you're interviewing 4 other people this for just sell your house, they ask everyone how many deals they've sold. I've sold more than them. And so luckily I have that card in my sleeve. But like in any other company you work in, you don't make the big bucks. You're not the CFO. You're not the guy making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 until when? You're in your 50s. So none of these people want to put the time in this industry to grow to that point. I'm very fortunate that I kind of went quick, but like I look at guys and I'm like, dude, how are they getting those like top listings in the area? I should be getting those top listings, even though I think I'm better than them, because I think everyone should think they're that confident. But it's just like, well, they've been doing this for 25 years. So it's like, who am I to compare myself to a 25 person that's been doing this 25 years? I've been doing this 5 years.
Well, the network that they have is just exponential.
And they've been around so long. And so that's what I'm trying to tell all these young agents. It's like, dude, stop worrying about right now. Yes, you can listen, if you work hard enough in real estate, you should be able to make 6 figures a year. I'm sorry, I don't give a crap who you are. You should be able to make at least 6 figures. If you play the game right, first off, 6 figures is a lot of money. My parents never made 6 figures their whole life combined. So let's not start acting like that's not a lot of money. But it's like, you could be making $500,000 to $1 million if you play the game right, if you invest in yourself, if you invest in your team, if you invest in growing, if you work hard every day. And that's the biggest thing that I laugh. It's like, I just don't think a lot of people work hard enough in this industry.
Well, we have a friend that says simple but not easy. Like there's a big difference between something being It's not brain surgery.
No.
But it's not easy to be consistent.
It's the hardest. This is the hardest job I've ever done with my life.
Yeah, but like simple, but not. So I always think of that all the time. That
this game is very simple and very difficult. At the same time.
Right.
It's, I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of like
simple, but not easy.
It's you have to show up every day.
Yeah.
You have to work a lot of hours. You have to be able to handle a lot of crap. You know, just this week I've had 2 clients go off of me and then apologize. Be like, hey man, sorry. We were
really stressed.
We're stressed out right now. And it's funny. Luckily, I came from a world where people called me every word under the book and yelled in my face and screamed in my face and whatever. So it's not like, for me, it's not a big deal. I'm like, and I think that's I don't ever I never say it's okay, but I always go like, dude, listen, I understand. I thank you for apologizing, but like we need to move on. I've already forgot about it. You need to move on. Right?
I can see being a professional umpire being like the ultimate training.
It's the greatest. It is the only reason why I'm great in real estate.
Yeah,
it is
I can see that.
Only every good umpire that gets released. I always say you should go into real estate. It is the perfect game. It's the perfect analogy. I had my friend Hunter Winelstead, who's a major league umpire. He called me maybe like 6 months ago. He had to go talk to a board of real estate agents. He's doing a favor for a guy in his city. He goes, dude, I don't know what the hell to talk about. I said, what do you don't know what to talk about? He's like, dude, I'm an umpire. You're like, you know both worlds. What is it? I said, dude, umpiring a baseball game is just like a real estate transaction. He goes, how? And I go, it's just like this. You have buyers and sellers on both sides. Just like you have a team. You have a home and away team. You somehow know that the deal's going to get done one or the other. Just like you know a game's going to get done sooner or later.
It will be over.
It will get over. You just have no idea in a game if it's going to be 2-hour flat, 2-0 ball game, nothing happens. Or you're going to have 4 fights. It's going to be 15 innings. It's going to have a rain delay. It's going to have this, just like in a real estate transaction. And that's the funny thing when it comes in the big leagues. Everyone can umpire in the big leagues if nothing goes wrong in the game. But when everything goes wrong, same thing in the real estate transaction. If the appraisal comes in fine, if the home inspection comes in fine, if termite comes in fine, if the buyer doesn't get qualifies fine, if everyone does everything fine, of course, that's easy money. But like right now, we were supposed to close the other day, and the buyer comes back, oh, they can't qualify, the lender's not that good, now we're switching lenders, now I'm having to deal with my builder yelling at me every day going, this should have been caught, and I'm like, I have no control of this. At the same time, we were supposed to close another house on Wednesday, now it's not closing until Monday, and then they're continuing on closing another one, and so then it's like, that's where the people that barely make the money is how do you handle 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 clients at one time, and if everything's going shoot, I'm dealing with a client right now where her son just tried to commit suicide, and every time I talk to her, she's crying on the phone, and I'm trying to put a deal together because we finally have an offer, and now she's arguing me about $200.
Yeah.
And so, and how do you show up every single day? And I wish I could go more off on on life and bash people. Like I've had clients literally sold their house in the first week. Appraisal came in $8,000 low. Got everyone to reduce their fees. Got them only to be $3,000 difference. They moved out a week earlier. Didn't tell me. There was a delay in the process. I literally got yelled at in text messages every single day. I had a lady say I'm the dumbest POS she's ever spoke to in my life, and this is all my fault, and we have a family, and you're hurting our family, and da 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 da. And I'm like, I'm just here selling houses. Like, it's not my
right.
What, you know what I mean? And I think that's what people don't realize is that you are gonna come into this industry, and you're gonna deal with people in the most stressful time of their lives. And if anything goes wrong, it is always your fault, even when you don't have any control of it. I literally do not have that much control on the transaction, and it's always your fault, and you're always the one that's going to take the blunt of it. And so if you can handle that, you can be a top producing agent. But if you can't, you ain't going to do well.
It's not the job for you.
You're not going to do well. And what people don't get, you don't make that much money off a transaction. After $10,000, $400,000 a deal, $10,000, after taxes, after you pay your broker, after you pay your fees, after you pay your time, you're making like 2 G's. So it's like, people wonder why, like, oh, you guys make so much money. Okay. And not every deal's $400, not every deal's $10,000. Some deals are $3,000, $4,000,
Right.
And so that I think is the thing that most people, what I really want to push more, and I think Carr and NAR, and I think the boards, and I think Keller Williams, and I think all the major companies need to do a better job. They don't want to because they make money off of everyone. Is that like not allowing these people to waste their time trying to become real estate agents that shouldn't be real estate agents. We all know by now who's good and who's not.
Right.
But they allow people because they get their $1,000 a year fees. The Keller Williams, Century 21, they get their $100 a month. The car gets your $100-something a year, and then it's just like everyone's just like picking money, and they pick all this money off of people. They go broke, they lose, and then the next batch of people come back in. And it's sad because you see so many people waste their time. My ex-fiance called me there last week. She's like, I think I'm going to be a real estate agent. I'm like, no, you're not. She's like, why not? I'm like, you would be terrible at it. You would be absolutely terrible at it. I'm gonna start taking my test. Okay, listen, I'm going to start studying. Cool, study for it. You're going to be terrible at it. I'm telling you right now, you cannot handle this job. I'm telling you. And she's like, well, I'm going to do it. Okay, great. Well, you're going to do it.
You're like, why are we having this conversation?
We're going to have a conversation. You're going to do it. I'm hoping that, she won't go through with it because it'll be a waste of time and money for her. And it's miserable. It's not going to be well.
Well, it's incredible. I can see, like, it really any kind of sales. Someone that has a sports background, not that every person's going to do well that comes from that arena, but I hadn't really thought about being an umpire or a referee, like, even more so, like, you have to have thick skin. You have to. Yeah.
And we have to be perfect. Yeah. It's the only job you have to be perfect and get better.
Yeah.
Right? So you're always on. And no one's on your team. Like, no one's on your side. Right? Only
somebody's mad at you all the time.
And so that's the thing I've come to realize, too. Like, people are just going to be mad. They're going to be upset. Yeah. It doesn't, I feel like it's gotten worse over the years. Like, when I first got started now, dude, I text my clients every other day, updates. You don't communicate enough. How much more do you want? I don't even know. What more do you want me to update you? And then me and Bernie's there. How do we update people more? And then just like, you know what? People are in the world now where they order a pizza and they can watch their whole pizza get made on their phone, step by step by step. The moment they order something on Amazon, it's updated to them minute after minute after minute. And so when I see the changeover in the guard is that when these older agents start getting mixed in with the younger crowd and they can't keep up on updating people.
Yeah.
If you don't have a full-time assistant nowadays, you can't keep up. If you're doing transactions, you can't keep up. It's too many updates.
It's crazy. Like, this morning I was eating breakfast and I look on the counter and we have like a box of fruit and there's a picture on it. This is a picture of the person that packed it. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, oh my gosh, like the world we live in where people want a personal connection with everything.
It's so crazy because it's like, and the hard part when it comes to updating is like, I can't control those people doing their job. And if they're not good at their job, I'm really at the mercy of them. And then you might be calling me and yelling me at my client, but I can't call and yell at them 24/7 either because then they're just going to tell me to pound sand and not do their job. So it's my job as a great agent to be like, okay, when do I have to take the heat from clients and I have to then go like, hey, just want to check in here because we need them to be on our team. I don't need to piss them off. And that's the thing that I think our job is to not allow clients to get in their own way. Because I've had times where I'm like, you want to call the person and yell at them? Great. It ain't going to get it quicker. I'm like, you got to stop yelling at me. I don't have control of that person doing their job. But I'll give you their phone number. You call and yell at them. Let's see how much longer it takes them for us to get it. It's going to take a lot longer, even if they ever get it to us. And then the deal's going to die. You're going to lose money. And then we're going to start this process all over again. Do you want to do that? Well, no. Okay, then.
No. Well, I know you need to get out of here, man. Yes. Right? So thanks so much for coming in.
For sure.
And,
it's so,
we'll do it again.
God, I'll tell you, 45 minutes goes quick.
It does.
I think I just want to keep you guys pushing harder, man. I think what you guys are doing is awesome, and being in this world, I think it's gonna really matter, and you just guys have to keep pushing. You know what I mean? And I know how hard it is, dude. It's so hard. It's so hard, and it's so time consuming, and you start getting like, oh, we gotta do another podcast, and we gotta go find a guest, and people don't show up on time and whatever. Yeah. So, but yeah.
No,
thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, man, we'll do it again.
It's great to see you.
For sure, always great seeing you guys.
You too.
All right, bye.
It is. That's why I need to get a picture. It's like
back to back.
Camera on camera.
While you're doing it.
All right. I put back to back on there. So you guys know, back to back covers.
You're the guy.
See you guys later. Whatever you guys need, call me. Let me know.
It's great
seeing you guys. Can't wait for next month's magazine.